Hi everyone, it's Kate Kalthoff. Welcome to a Stamping to Share video. I'm excited to share with you another card made with the Carols of Christmas bundle. It's an early release from Stampin' Up! From the Holiday 2017 catalog, available to order in August of 2017. So really excited about that. So let me show you the card. It looks like this, and who would have ever believed you'd be using daisy paper on a Christmas card? But we are. We're going to use the Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper on this card as our background because it looks like little snowflakes falling in the background. And then one of the things I love about this bundle are these very realistic looking trees. Here's two on the front and then one on the inside. And then also another thing I love about the bundle, of course, is this little deer here in the corner. And then there's this really cool tool in the bundle that allows you to create gorgeous borders. So let's go ahead and make this card. The first thing that we're going to need, of course, is our base card. This is 5 1/4 by 8 1/2. And I've scored it at 4 1/4. So I'm just going to go ahead, fold along the score line. I'll use my Stampin' Up! Bone folder here and make sure that I have that fold nice and pressed. Then we're going to do our panels, and our inside panel is very vanilla. This is 4 by 5 1/4, and I did go ahead and already put a strip of the Delightful Daisy Designer Series paper at the bottom to coordinate with the front of the card. This is 1/2 inch by 4 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead, just put a little bit of snail on the back here, and we're going to set this on the inside panel of the card. And in a little bit we'll add the tree down here. So now I'm going to set this aside and we're going to work on that outside panel. So to start with, we are going to need 2 pieces of very vanilla paper. The first one we're going to set aside. We're going to be using that on the Big Shot. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And then the second one here is 2 1/4 by 3 inches, and we'll be stamping on this piece. So I'm going to remove this tag. I'm going to bring in some black ink. This is our classic black archival ink from Stampin' Up! And I'll just ink up the piece on earth here. And this stamp set is available in red rubber. That's clear mount, which means you can mount it on our clear acrylic blocks. Or you can get the wood mount option, which would have the wood blocks. And so there we go. We've got this all stamped and it's ready to go on our card. So we're going to set that aside for a minute. And let me show you what we're doing here with that other panel. So what I did is I already ran half of this through the Big Shot machine. We have this border maker that comes with the Thinlits. That's part of the bundle. The Thinlits can be purchased on their own. They're called the Card Front Builder Thinlits. And if we remove it, we'll pull away these little pieces of paper here, and you can see that this is got this great little border that's going to go all around our card. And so let me give you a tip about this. The first thing I did is I actually just lined it up. You know, imagine this is just a plain sheet of paper. I just lined this up in the corner, and then so that both corners here were even, and then I ran it through the Big Shot machine. Then what I did is I flipped this over, and you want to make sure that, and I'm sure you won't probably even be able to see this on the video, but there's 2 very small little holes right here. And what you're going to do is you're going to line those 2 little holes up with the little hole that was already created. And I like to use my paper piercing tool because then I can kind of feel in there and make sure that it's lined up right where I want it on those 2 holes. And once I feel that those 2 holes are lined up on top of the 2 holes that were previously created, I can put it down, put my cut plate over the top, and run it through the Big Shot machine just like this, and I will have something that looks like this. Now, just to save a little time, I'm not going to be poking all of those little pieces of paper out because I did that in advance. So I have one ready to go, and it looks like this. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take some snail, and I'm just going to go ahead and put this right onto the front of our card. We're not doing any kind of a ribbon wrap, so we can just go ahead and put this down. I am going to bring some white paper in here so that I can make sure that my borders are even. I find it a little hard to determine that if I'm doing black on black. All right, so that looks good. Then I'm going to take a piece of that Delightful Daisy paper. Let me show you this paper. This is just a wonderful paper pack, but as you can see, it's very spring and summery looking, maybe a little bit fallish, but there is this piece of paper here that in my opinion looks like snowflakes. So I have that already cut down and ready to put on my card. It's 3 1/4 by 4 7/8. Now the 4 7/8 is kind of probably going to throw you for a loop, but just think of it as being a little smidge smaller than 4 1/2. And so we'll go ahead and we will add some multi-purpose liquid glue to the back, and we'll just put this right here onto our card front, and we'll just make sure that's wiggled into place and that looks like a perfect fit. The next thing to do after that is we're going to stamp our deer down here. So I'm going to, again, take my basic black archival ink from Stampin' Up. I'll ink up this deer, and then I'm just going to put it right here in the lower right-hand corner, pressing straight down and bringing it straight up for our deer. One of the things I love about this designer paper is look at the variegation you can see. So we've got lighter down here and darker up here. And of course, when I put this on, I made sure that I had the dart to the top so that the deer would really pop down here on the lighter side of the paper. Then we have to use the Big Shot machine again, and I did do this in advance. There are a couple of trees in that die set, and we're going to use these lovely, realistic looking trees on our card. So let me remove these. And in case you're wondering what size this scrap was, it was about 2.5 inches wide by 4 inches, and that will allow you to place the trees so that they're facing inwards towards each other, and you get very little waste doing it that way. So let me go ahead and get these trees out. And this first one, we're just going to go ahead and we'll add a little glue to the back, because this one will be set on the inside panel of the card right down here. Just make sure when you put it in that the tree is actually growing straight up. You don't really want to look at the bottom, because the bottom is going to be a little tilted to make it look like it's on a slope. Now for this one, we're going to do our piece on earth and our tree, but we're going to do it with dimensionals. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the piece on earth first. And I use 5 dimensionals to make sure that that's nice and sturdy. So again, we're just going to center that in right here. Then we're also going to add dimensionals to our trees. And as you can see, I added 4 dimensionals, 2 of our regular size dimensionals, and here's where Stampin' Up's brand new mini dimensionals come in quite handy. So I have 2 of those in the upper branches. Then I can go ahead and flip that around. And again, don't pay a lot of attention to the base of how this is going on. What you want to do is make sure that your trees are going straight up and down. So we can set this here, and that looks great. And our card is done. So here's the card I just created. Here is the card I had done in advance. So thank you so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate that you stopped by Stamping to Share. If you're interested in placing a Stampin' Up! Product order, please see my blog at www.stampingtoshare.com, and I have links there where you can place product orders and get these products into your craft room. Have a great day. Bye-bye.